Hi friends, this is Meg at Chasing Retro. We're going to continue in the series, or the collaboration rather, called Ready, Set, Stash today. I am not intentionally going in order, it's just the way that it happened to work out this weekend. Today I'm going to be making large and or shaped journaling cards. And this kind of lended itself to what I would choose next because I spent most of Friday and yesterday cutting out images and things from books that I basically was keeping the whole book or magazine for just a few little images. And as you know, when space is limited, it is a treasure to have space, and you want to make sure that you use it wisely. So I am going through this weekend, and I'm going through my books and magazines that are just basically taking up space, except for maybe 10 to 20% of what's inside that I need. Don't worry though, I did take advantage of the pages with words on them also. One of my favorite things to do is to cut interesting or funny or quirky or snarky or whatever sayings out of books and magazines and store them in a box. I actually have them in a box that is now full, so I'm finding a new storage solution for them this week. But these are all of the phrases or sentences or quotes that I found from books that I'm going to use to make I guess sort of semi-humorous journaling cards, which is one of my favorite things to do. If y'all have been watching me for a while, you know that I love doing that. So as I go through my books, I've been finding lots of fun things to add to that. But today I wanted to show you what you can do when you have, well, let me start back a little bit. Let me show you an example. Let me see. Sometimes when you are looking through a book and you're looking at images that are more large, say they're too big for cutting out to embellish a page or a tag or something, you know, they're bigger than 1 by 2 or whatever, the image size that we like for embellishing tags and things. Say that you have an image that is, I actually threw this one away because I don't like the snake, but this is from a very old little golden book, and this is huge. So what am I going to do with this? Well, I could use it as a pocket or a tuck spot in a very large junk journal or glue book. However, I have not made any of those. So most of my books are 9 by 6 or thereabouts, so this would not really work for that. However, it can be a very large journaling card. If it is not too wide for the book itself, I'm measuring here at the bottom, then you can definitely turn it into a journaling card. If it's this big, you probably don't want to leave any space on the outside when you put it down onto something more substantial to have a blank back for journaling. However, if you have one that's a little bit smaller, maybe you can stand to use some colored cardstock and leave a little bit of a border or frame. And I'm going to show you both of those examples today. So as I'm going through my books and things, I'm finding things like this. So it has a flat bottom, so I'm going to say that this would be a perfect tuck spot because I can put it on the corner of a page. That's why I pulled that one out. This is a really good example of what you could use for a upper corner tuck spot because it's already angled for you. This is just for a journaling card. This actually would make a large journaling card if you wanted to, but it is actually almost exactly the width that you would like for a pocket. So you could line or lay it down on some colored cardstock, put a little divot here, and you have a ready-made pocket that's already decorated for you. So as I go through and I look through my images, I try to pull out ones that would be pockets or tuck spots first, and then whatever large images I have left, that's what I turn into large or shaped journaling cards. Here are some other examples. I just love this illustration style. It's like pointillism almost, but this is from a children's reader from the 70s, and it's just a kind of an odd size. I mean, you could turn it just so and make it into a tuck spot, but it's awkward and it would probably take up too much of the page. So we're going to turn this into a shaped journaling card. Here's another example of a shaped journaling card. In a large junk journal, this would make a good pocket. However, I'm going to use it as a shaped journaling card. This one too, this is from a little golden book. I don't remember the name of it. You guys might remember it. A lot of people make this book into a junk journal. I've seen several little golden junk journals with this book. This is actually a very random image from a Reader's Digest book. So this would probably go into an eclectic journal or just a retro, maybe 60s themed journal because of her outfit, and you can see the TV with the rabbit ears back there. But what else am I going to do with this image? If I put it on a page as decoration, you won't have any room to write. So I'm going to turn this into a shaped journaling card. This is a really fun one. This came from a Good Housekeeping magazine from the 70s. It was a little insert on like the newsprint type paper in a magazine, showing how to use freshly grown vegetables in your recipes. I don't remember where I got this one. It says Proven Winners. So this is a modern magazine. It might have been a gardening magazine, but I just fell in love with the style of these elephants. But what else am I going to do with it? Not much. So I'm going to create a journaling card. This came from a children's English book. And it's just, I love round journaling cards. They're the most fun to make. This one I'm not decided on. I really don't know if I love it enough to make it into a journaling card. It's just an awkward size and an awkward shape. I love the colors on it. It looks very 90s to me, but I might set this one aside and do something else with it. One of my favorite things to make shaped journaling cards out of is food. So occasionally you'll get a cake cookbook that will have, this is actually a Wilton's yearbook, and it'll have cutouts of cakes, and you can create a shaped journaling card out of a cake. It's super fun to do. I got 2 ads from a Popular Mechanics magazine from the 70s. This is a Peugeot car, and these were like I guess the first prototypes of a minivan in a way. So I'm going to cut these out and make these into a shaped journaling card. This looks a lot like my first car, which was a Chevette. Very similar. I had the square cutouts for the headlights and everything. Last is this image right here. This is from a 1941 Popular Mechanics or Science. I think it's Mechanics. And I just love these magazines. I love, love, love them. I love the schematics. And a lot of these middle sections in these are things that the man of the house or the woodworker in the family can make for their home. This would have been at the very end of the Depression, so people were being scrappy and using what they had. And he made this lovely coffee table for his wife. So I'm going to cut around her, and I'm going to create a shaped journaling card and use it in my houses and homes journal. Honestly, the way it's shaped and the way, if I do it in such a way that it can be transformed into this may also be a tuck spot. That's the beauty of these large shaped journaling cards. You can decide at the very last minute to make it into a tuck spot instead. Even if you sew around the edge, it's still not hard to put something in and out of that spot for in your journals. It might add a little more bulk to the book, but that's fine. That's fine with me. I don't know about you guys. Let me get out this folder real quick before I set to work on these. This is a folder that I keep in my file drawer, and basically any large magazine images and pages that I love the look of, but I really don't know what I'm going to do with it, I put it in here. I haven't opened this in about 4 months. So let's see what is in here, and can I use anything? Okay, this is amazing. I'm trying to think if I could do a journaling card that folds. Do you know what I'm talking about? So to fit into a journal, you would have to make it fold. So a lot of times with these, I'll cut around it, I'll glue it down on something maybe not quite so thick as cardstock, maybe just a very thick printer paper, if you will. And then I'll sew around the outside, and it will just be a folded card. So we might do that. And I can use these in my sewing journals. I think we will do that. This one is cool, but I really don't know that it's going to work for today's project. I think I saved this because I like the couch. If it were unobstructed by this furniture here, I would use this and cut this out as a shaped journaling card. However, this makes it a little hard to do. This is, I think I just like the way this looks. This is like a Morton Salt game. I really don't know how it works. I think you just write down which one of these you'd like to win, and then if you open this Morton Salt wrapper, you will see if your number comes up. This one, y'all know why I saved this one. I'm a child of the 80s, and Kool-Aid Man, Smiling Pitcher, whatever he is, was very much a part of my growing up years. So this will probably go into a glue book because I don't want to lose it. It's too big for a shaped journaling card. And this would actually make a really cool altered paper clip. So I will use that, save that for that use later. This one, why did I save this? I think I just like the colors. Maybe I was thinking I would do something with this down here. I think this just reminded me of growing up. I loved fudge when I was growing up. Now I don't like nuts anymore. I'm not allergic to them, I just don't care for them. But man, when I see that, it just takes me right back to Christmas in the early 80s. So I think I just kept it for nostalgia. And these are things made with fruit cocktail, which my mom loved to use in side dishes and salads when I was growing up. So I probably saved that for nostalgia as well. Look at this, y'all. It's a Northern Girl. I think someone sent this to me in Happy Mail. So yes, this will be a shaped journaling card for sure. Make sure there's nothing on the back I don't mind losing. And this would actually make a very great large journaling card. So I'm gonna make this into a rectangle square journaling card. So we'll save that. This one is a very, very large Colgate ad. This is pretty creative, I think. So let's do this. Let's use this one. It's kind of weird without the rest of the story to tell what this means, but sometimes that's kind of refreshing. I don't know. I feel like not everything has to make sense in a junk journal, so I saved this because I just love the colors. So this will probably be a glue book image. Oh man, I wish I could come across those sheets at a thrift store. I saved this probably for the colors also, and also marigolds remind me of my grandpa. He planted them every year in his backyard. He always started them from seed. A giant chicken noodle soup can. This honestly would make a good large journaling card, even though these little things are in the way. So I will definitely use this, and we'll just pretend it looks kind of like the chicken's about to be struck by lightning or something, but we'll just have to have a, what is it called? A suspension of disbelief. Okay. I don't know that I want to save chickeny or not. Probably not. We will throw this away. I'm very proud of myself. It's really hard for me not to keep everything, but this weekend I have made some tough decisions, and I think in the long run I'll be able to create more because I'm letting go of some things that are taking up very much needed room. This is really pretty too. However, I don't think I want to do it today. I have no plant journals in the works. This is most definitely a large journaling card. Why did I keep this? Maybe it was because of the little fell out thing. Little ad. These are small enough that I don't. This one's pretty cool. Mayflower moving. Beautiful roses. She can be cut out as a fussy cut and decorating a page. Now this is a large journaling card if I ever saw one. I could probably trim this down a little bit. That is a fun image. Honestly, these types of things would make a really fun shaped journaling card. I'm not going to do it today, but it would be a little awkward to put into a pocket. It would have to be a large journal again. Also, her fingers are extremely long and pointy. So I like to use ads like this as either side pockets or belly bands. If you're doing a retro journal and you see magazine images like this, that is one way to use them. My grandma had this perfume. I don't think she ever wore it though. It was just, when I remember seeing it in the late 80s, and this magazine is from 82, but I think she has had it longer than that. It was, I mean, it was no longer green. It was like brown. So I think it had just sat back there for a long, long time, but I saved this because it reminded me of her. This is really fun, but again, I think I would want to cut this out and use her as a decoration. This is definitely a large journaling card. It's not shaped, but it's still fun, and I love the green carpet in the dining room. Not very practical, but so very retro. What is this? I don't know. It's pretty. Again, probably a glue book item. This is definitely a shaped journaling card. This is definitely a shaped journaling card. Really don't know what to do with this one, so I'll save it. And this is, I think someone gave this to me. It's German. I don't know why I saved it. I don't know. I mean, the colors are pretty, but maybe just the language I wanted to keep. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that I like to do is get a substrate. Carrie the Paper Monkey was talking about a substrate today. It's just basically whatever you'll use to back your images. So I have a selection of, what are they called? File folders here. Right here. But I also have behind me, and I'm going to grab that in a second, I have my basket of cardstock scraps. And I'm going to put this here beside me because it has pretty much any color I could ever think of. And a lot of things that I keep getting splinters on my desk drawers. This is not good. I also, not this one. This one has pictures I can still use. I also need a glue book. So this is just a gutted book that I use the cover of, and then I have, I go through and I take all the images out and the words that I want. I've already gone through this one. There weren't that many great quotes in here. And then I just use this as a backdrop for a glue stick, and then I rip the page off and throw it away when it gets tacky. Okay. I'm probably going to fast forward this again because just like my last video, this will be tedious after a while if you watch me do a few. But yeah, we'll start just for a little while. We'll chat just a moment and then I'll fast forward it. And I will also show you at the end of this video, some of these will be as is. They will be perfectly wonderful, unembellished as they are because they can hold their own. Other things I might want to add a little bit of embellishment to. And there's lots of different ways you can embellish large journaling cards. And I'll try to show you a pretty good example of all of the ways I like to do that if I can, if I have chosen wisely these images today. I just love her dress. I would totally wear it. So I use glue stick for two reasons. Number one, I almost always sew around my journaling cards that I make with magazines because they're so fragile. These magazines, you know, magazine paper is thin anyway, but when they're old magazines, it's even more brittle. So I like to sew around them just to protect them and keep them from lifting up on the edges. Also, glue stick, or at least this one, unlike some of the other glues you can get other than Fabri-Tac, which is a little overkill and too expensive in my opinion to use in this way, leave bubbles. I have tried using this before, and if I don't plan to sew around the edges, I do run a very thin line of this around the outside, but I'm going to be sewing around all of these, even the ones, like this is not going to be very fun to sew around. I understand that. You just have to go very slowly. Okay, let me show you the finished products. I decided not to embellish any of these just because I felt like all of them were busy enough without needing extra items. But a lot of times when I do a large journaling card that's a rectangle, I love to put a little fabric loop or a stretch of lace or something like that along the top. But today I decided just to kind of keep it simple, and I did change the colors out of my sewing thread a couple of times, and the stitch design I changed a couple of times. So I'll show you that as I go along. Here, well, let me show you this one first. I decided not to sew this one. You probably saw me gluing with an extra layer of this glue around the edge, which I do if I'm not going to sew it down. I don't like to put the glitter in my sewing machine. I don't think it will hurt it, but I just do not want to take any chances. I thought this would be a really fun background. I was having trouble finding a cardstock in the color to match, and then when I saw the glitter, I realized, yes, this is the one I want to use. Here is that Rain Barrel fabric softener bottle from the magazine from the 70s, and I used a teal colored thread around that one. I also used a teal thread around this one, and I used sort of a, almost like a drum, like the X's on the side of a drum stitch. I don't know what it's called, but I'll just love the way that one turned out. So I will go back and embellish this one somehow. I'll probably put a fabric cluster here because this has some water damage and something on the other side is showing through. But there's plenty of space to do so without covering up the words. But I just love this tag. I'll probably keep this one for myself because it has sentimentality to it. My grandma loved these Northern Girls, and Tammy from Tattered Tammy sent me some Northern Girls, and I actually have this one in my bedroom right now framed. So very, very excited about that. This is the image from the Reader's Digest, and I put it on a craft color, and I have some variegated green thread that alternates between Kelly green and mint, and I don't get to use it very often, so I use that there. The same variegated thread is on this one. This is just a flyleaf of a book, and it was just this beautiful color. And then we have I accidentally put this over her eyes, but you know, too late now. This one I alternated a straight stitch and this beautiful diamond stitch, and I used the variegated green again for that. And then this one is the cake with the variegated green. I thought this was really fun. I did the zigzag with the variegated green on this black and white. If I do a black and white image, if I don't back it with a bright color, I like to use a bright colored thread. I was thinking about using hot pink for this one, but because I already had the green in the machine, I used this for both of them. And then I used black for a lot of these. I really like to do zigzag on journaling cards that I do shaped. I just think they're fun, and honestly, it doesn't take any more time to do the zigzag than the straight. This is the little lady in the Peugeot car, and I put it on some orange paper with arrows. I thought this was really cool the way it turned out, this little globe. And then the little girl on the swing. So this will end up being a tuck spot instead. Sometimes little happy accidents like that happen. And after I cut it out and added the little border around the edge, I realized that this is a perfect tuck spot. So this will be going in the Houses and Homes folder for when I do those. And then here is a chicken noodle soup can. I thought this was fun. Here is the concept minivan. I think she's putting on waders. That's what it looks like. When I first looked at that, I was like, what is she doing? And this is just a book page, and the colors were very 70s looking, so I put it on there. This is actually one of those report covers, and I decided at the last minute not to sew this one. I just didn't want to detract from the picture itself. And here's the little lady, and I went around her. I didn't do the best job, but you know, it'll do. It is really hard to sew around things with a lot of pointy corners. Here's the little vegetable guy. And last but not least, the little Northern Tissue Girl from Winter. So I hope this inspires you to look at your magazines and children's books and other books differently. Magazines especially, because the images are usually, a lot of times they will put an image that's sort of been cut out and put onto a blank background. And they lend themselves perfectly to a shaped journal card. But also children's books. Some of the images in there are just so wonderful, but so very large, and you can't think of anything else to use them for. So this is the perfect solution for that. Honestly, I think my favorite one is the dining room. I just love the way this turned out. The more I look at this picture, the more I want to walk into this room. And I'm going to put a lot of cards like this in my Houses and Home cards because I want it to reflect the way houses were decorated a long time ago. Oh, not that long ago. I'm going to make myself sound old. I mean, about the time I was born. So that's not too long ago. I hope you guys get some inspiration from this and pull out some of your large images. Try some of your interesting sewing stitches and, you know, maybe even change the sewing machine foot to try some that you haven't done yet and have fun. Thanks as always for joining me. If you would like to join in with this, please make a video on your channel and let me know by tagging me and also using the hashtag ReadySetStash, and I will add your video to my playlist. It's growing and there's so many cool videos on there now. I really hope that it continues to grow so that we can all encourage and inspire each other to make more interesting things for our stash so we have a ready supply at any moment's notice when we have a new journal coming up. You guys have a lovely day. Talk to you soon.